Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for Thursday, August 16th, 2018. I'm your host, Alexander Coffey, joined by two of our regular Nintendo News reporters. As always, the infallible Mr. Canada's very own, Donald Terrio. Hello.
Hello, 364 days and advertisers officially stopped caring about me.
Oh boy. I don't what's that a reference to?
Uh my I turned 34 yesterday, and so I move out of the 18 to 34 bracket a year from now.
Well, happy birthday to you, Donald.
Thanks.
Yeah, did you get your 200 platinum coins from
Actually, it was 300.
300? That's what I
Whoa,
got. Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, you don't get your 30% discount on Nintendo games anymore. You can get 300 platinum coins. So
No, you get it. It's just on 3DS or Wii U games. They don't have any Switch stuff on there yet.
oh,
Coming soon.
I can log into my Nintendo and get my 30% off.
Yeah, although you'll probably have to go through, it's probably easier to just go through the coupons that you have. It should give you the lists, like your list of coupons, either on the 3DS or on the website, and it will show you what games are eligible. I know I was able to turn my copy of Fire Emblem Echoes digital.
Oh, okay. Where's the I'm on the website now. How do I
Uh,
go to
it's kind of a tricky backdoor, but I think if you click your little me icon on the screen, and then I think it's the settings link. Let me just
Yeah,
go there myself now.
I
all
don't know why
right.
you're wasting your time. It's my Nintendo we're talking about here. Come on.
This is very important, you know.
All right, if you're in chat, let us know how many of you look forward to your 30% discount.
I've
Because
never
I want
used
I
it.
want I want to see if even one person says they look forward to that. It's so exciting that I don't even remember I got a 30% discount on games I already own.
Mm. All right. Justin, how are you?
I'm here too, everybody.
Justin's here, not Canada's very own. In fact,
No.
New Jersey's very own. Justin
Yep,
Berube.
that's me.
That's you. TRBR. I love 30% off stuff I already own.
Yeah, exactly my point.
Dale, my Nintendo is a disappointment to the nation. I don't know why you're selling yourself short just putting one nation down. I'm pretty sure it's a disappointment to the whole world.
Hope you enjoy your wallpapers.
Yes, yes, yes. We got some what we've been playing. Justin, you got a Nintendo something. You got a demo, a
Yeah.
Dragon Ball game.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Fighters. I played the
Fighters.
demo of that, and let me just say, I've never played this game before on like any other platform it's on. Uh, Out of the box, I just want to say some of the positive things about it, and that's the presentation and making it feel like Dragon Ball Z is
Mm-hmm.
spot on. It's really good. Uh, Took me out of it is the fact that they use their Japanese voices, and I don't know if they do that in the final version since this is just a demo or not. I'm used to the old American version, so they're all speaking in Japanese, and they have like the translations at the bottom, which I don't know. For a game that seems to be real popular globally, I'm kind of like taken aback a bit by that as somebody who's watched almost all Dragon Ball Z. So I kind of wish they had their English voices. But other than that, the animations and the attacks and everything that I saw looks really nice. And I played it on docked mode. I didn't try it handheld. Uh, so I think it really nailed the Dragon Ball Z look and feel, other than the voices. Uh, Logging into this game brings you to some weird menus. And this is the demo, but I've heard from people that it's like this in the final game. So you log in, it asks for, I think, your country, and then it asks for your region within that country, and then maybe one other selection like that, or it does something like that. And then you have to pick a server within that region. You can see how many people out of a max like 62 or 64 are in each lobby. Then you go into the lobby. All right, now you're in the lobby, and then you can walk around this lobby area with other people's avatars that are walking around, and if you want, you can drop a ring around you, and if you drop a ring, people can like choose to enter your like sub lobby to fight with you, or you can try entering other people's rings to fight with them. Within each ring, 2 fights can be going on at once, and you can like spectate or just wait your turn to like face winner of whoever and get in line. But it was just very bizarre that you had to go through all of these menus, and then you have to like physically walk up to people you want to fight, who honestly you don't know who they are to begin with for the most part, unless you like plan with somebody to go on a specific server, I guess. But it's really all bizarre and time consuming when I'd rather the game just throw me in a match so I can get like a feel for this thing.
Yeah.
So I mean that was really weird. I've never. It's a really weird lobby system, and if anybody else has played the game, maybe they can understand that as well. Uh, Also, it took me a while to find the training mode because I played a few matches. I'm like, wow, I'm just getting destroyed here. I don't even know what I'm doing. But apparently, there was a place you can go train around that circle, but it seemed kind of hard to locate. But I figured it out, and I did all the training. And it does seem like an easier fighting game to get into, but it's still not easy enough as far as I'm concerned. Uh, yeah, I mean, a lot of fighting games, I feel like, or most fighting games, are just too complicated, and I just lose interest way too fast because of that. And I know, like, it's not considered a traditional fighting game, but I feel like Smash Brothers really is easy to learn and pick up very quickly. Everybody has like the same moves, and it seems like a lot of characters in this game do too. But they're more complicated to pull off. There's uh, some like the weird button commands do some of the attacks. It wasn't that bad, but it's still there. So uh, it just makes it harder to learn the game, in my opinion. So that kind of turned me off.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you played this game before?
I own it. I own it on the personal computer. And yeah, I agree. The lobbies are a little counterintuitive so until you get used to it. I think once you get used to it, it's fine. But the fighting game itself, I would say, is very accessible, pretty fun. Um, Very much an Arxis anime fighter, I would say.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I did the tutorial, like I said, and I still walked away feeling like I didn't grasp how it all connects well. So, I mean, maybe there are visual tells on certain things, but I just wasn't picking up on them quickly enough. And there's a lot of abilities that have you like quickly dash at your opponent too, so it's really hard to react to that a lot of the times, and a lot of ways to call in other fighters and stuff. But I eventually was able to win one match, and I did it in a very Dragon Ball Z way. In fact, almost replicating a scene from DBZ, so I was happy about that.
Yeah. You looking forward to the game, or are you still
Uh,
undecided?
I'm at this point, I'm pretty undecided. I don't think I'm going to pick it up at launch, but if I see it on sale or something, I might grab it down the
Mm.
road. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just it has too high a learning curve for me to seriously pick up and expect to put any serious time into it. So that's why I'd kind of be on the fence or wait for a sale on this. But I don't hate the game. Like I said, it really does capture that Dragon Ball Z style very, very well. So I don't really have. It's not good or bad. I know some people can really get into this type of game if you put the time into it to learn the systems. But with Smash around the corner, and knowing that I like that game's easy to learn, hard to master style more than this initial high learning curve, I'm probably just gonna focus on that for my fighting game on Switch, basically.
Word. Word.
Yeah, and at least in the other versions, there is a dual audio option, so you can get the English or Japanese dub. It may have just been left out of the demo.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Donald, I do believe you have a game also. One Danganronpa.
Yes, a game that is not on Nintendo platforms as of yet, probably should be. I've managed to finish the third game in that trilogy this past weekend. I had heard what the ending was in broad strokes, and hearing about that was enough to get it pretty high on my Game of the Year list last year, just for sheer balls. But actually seeing it play out in the always elongated last trial of those games,
Mm-hmm.
that was a hell of a ride.
So my question for you is, I played the first two Danganronpa games. I thought the first one was great. I thought the second one was good at parts, but kind of failed to stick the landing a little bit. How does the third one compare to the first two?
I think the mini game, like the trial mini games in the third one, are the best in the bunch. So, I know, I preferred the ones in two mostly, but there was one of them that really irked me. They improved Hangman's Gambit.
Mm.
That part of it that got fixed up. The storyline does some twists. You kind of have to accept that there is going to be a payoff for it at some point, and they finally get into calling out some of the leaps of logic that the series can make. I I'm still thinking about where it sort of ranks, but I actually preferred the second game, so I'm kind of weird that way.
Okay.
But I'm thinking at this point three is enough. Or the third game is enough that it's probably the best of the trilogy. Even even if I have to be careful referring to Danganronpa 3 because that's actually an anime.
Right, so the thing is, Danganronpa 3, the anime, is the actual sequel to Danganronpa 2, the video game. Danganronpa 3, the video game, is in the same universe and has pieces of it. It's still very much in that universe, but it's not exactly Danganronpa 3.
There is a very spoilery reason as to why that game is called Danganronpa V3.
Okay. All right, I'll leave it at that. I'm looking forward to playing it at some point because it is on Steam right now for $30, but that's
Yeah,
just
that's
$10 more than I'm looking to pay for it.
yeah. Although I will say that both one and two are like six. I think they're like 20. I think they're like $5 US at
Yeah.
this point for this weekend. So if you haven't tried it, I can't speak for the localization of those two games because I think Spike Chunsoft handled that internally instead of licensing the NIS America localization that they had for the Vita games because that's where I played them all.
Hmm.
But but yeah, definitely at least try the first one, if only to see what it's like to do massively multiplayer Phoenix Wright.
Nice. Nice. And if you have a PSVR, I also recommend people check out the VR demo of Danganronpa, which takes you through a trial, which is a cute little thing. But then it also gives you a POV execution Danganronpa style. It's a nice 7-minute demo. Highly recommended. And it's free, so there you go. Nice, nice, nice. Let's move through some of this news. Dale says, increase your Patreon to buy Alex a new camera. I do need a new camera. That's true. And Chair Goblin, wait, is that Alex hosting NNR? Am I dreaming? Yeah, I've been out of the chair a couple weeks. I've been doing work stuff. I think didn't we record last Friday?
Yeah,
Yeah, I had went to my cousin's house that week. So it's been a little busy, but I am back in the chair for this episode, of course. And then and then hopefully beyond that. Adam says it's a nice picture. So I do have a nice picture of myself in lieu of a camera.
I should probably do that myself. Except hopefully in a few weeks I'll have a new PC to work with.
Nice. Nice. Let's go through some of this news. Dark Souls Remastered, a game I was thinking about like once every 2 days. I was like, when's that game actually coming out? I hope it doesn't go the way of Steep. It turns out that game's coming out on October 19th alongside the Solaire amiibo. Sick. I'm guessing probably the hardware capability is the reason why it got held up for a while, but you
It.
know.
I mean, you can probably speak to this more than I can, but I think the reports out of PAX were that it was playing well
Hmm.
with what you could expect. I think most of the demos for that were in handheld mode. So obviously that's going to take the performance down slightly. But I think the big problem was the online, and and they're going to be having an online test for that at some point in the next couple of months, just to make sure
Yeah.
see if that's holding up.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say, Alex, you knew this game wasn't getting canceled because the amiibo had already probably been pumped out somewhere.
That's true. If you put up pre-orders for an amiibo, like that game does not get canceled.
No, it's gone too. If it's getting an amiibo, it's gone too far.
If it's got an amiibo, Nintendo will parachute people into your company to make sure that it ships.
The chainmail is looking nice on that amiibo. I do wonder if it'll have a Metroid style. How that was squishy. If that would have a bit of a chainmail feel, but I bet it's just gonna be plastic.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Oh, shoot! I did play a game I can talk about. I began and finished WarioWare on 3DS.
Gold.
WarioWare Gold. I played all 300 micro games. I unlocked maybe half to a third of the sort of collection of stuff, the sort of the gacha, and it was just under 5 hours. It's easy to forget that WarioWare games really great, really fun, but don't actually have necessarily the lengthiest amount of content in the whole wide world.
Well, considering you're moving through that content 3 seconds at a time.
Yeah. It's good. It's basically Rhythm Heaven Fever, or excuse me, Rhythm Heaven Megamix, but sort of WarioWareized. So it's good. If you like your some WarioWare, I highly recommend playing WarioWare Gold. And that's all I have to say about it.
9-volt for Smash.
9-volt for Smash. Ashley, poor Ashley, got relegated to being an assist trophy. Did you guys hear that new, speaking of Smash Bros, you guys end up hearing that new King K. Rool song that came out?
The one in the trailer? Or?
The one that was in the trailer, but then I believe Sakurai just put out a full version of it, and it's really, really good. And in fact, there's a vocal track that is not reminiscent of the DK rap, I will just say. So, there you go.
Check that out.
There you go. Yeah. I would recommend looking into that. Adam says, I bought the amiibo, but will not be getting the game. Yeah, that is a good amiibo, regardless of whether you want the game or not. I'm excited for both. Cherry Goblin says, WarioWare Gold is gold. Yes, I do remember you really like that game, Cherry Goblin. It's a fine time.
I think I've got to get that at some point, but well, it's been pretty crazy here the last few months, so haven't really had time to get into it.
Jeff Gersman says that WarioWare is the best Nintendo franchise, and I'm not saying I agree necessarily. I'm not saying that WarioWare necessarily stacks up to the Super Mario Odysseys and or Breath of the Wilds, well, depending on whether you're Justin or not of the world, but there is something very pure and fun about a WarioWare game that's, one might say, nearly impossible not to love. It's one of the most pure fun Nintendo series, I'd say. Diablo 3 coming to Switch. A article from Forbes broke embargo. Diablo's coming later this year. It was finally confirmed. It's gonna have Ganondorf in it. And it's gonna be at $59.99, include all the content. And you can also get a Cuckoo pet called the Chicken and a Ganondorf armor set. So,
and I think like a player icon border of the Hylian crest or something.
Okay. That's cool. I always wanted to play through Diablo 3. People really love that game.
I got it when it came out for PC, but when it first came out, even I had like a mid-range PC, and it was, according to the specs on the game box, I'd say it was mid-range, and the game just chugged horribly. Like there's a lot of bad frame rate problems. My friend had like a top-of-the-line PC at the time, and he had the same issue, and it really hurt the game for both of us, I guess, and I didn't really stick with it for long at all. It was like a huge resource hog, like more than any game I've seen at the time, and it was just a huge problem.
Wasn't the thing about Diablo 3 that it launched very poorly, but they basically slowly improved it and added to it until it became a much beloved video game?
That's what I remember, but I didn't go back to it.
They basically fixed it, I think.
It's not quite Final Fantasy XIV levels of take the game and fix it, but between performance issues and some controversy about monetization in the auction house,
Oh, yeah.
Diablo 3 had a really rough launch on PC, but yeah, it got straightened out and sounds like it's going to run fine on Switch. Like it'll be 60, both handheld and docked.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I'll probably get it and give it another try. I mean, I don't think it's like the best game for me, but it sounds like something that could be fun with multiple people, and you got to use that online service for something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. TRBR said, really, I had a decent PC when Diablo 3 launched, 100 plus FPS after I got my 980 Ti. It's like 180 FPS. Boy, would I like to see a video game at 180 frames per second. That's not like an emulator game. That's just the normal game, but sped up. I want to see the Hobbit style more frames per second than it actually needs.
It's like I don't think your eye can even track that anymore.
Yeah, where it's like it's moving in slow motion unintentionally. Yeah. All right. So there's Diablo 3. Doom Eternal, that's coming to Switch. No date announced. That gameplay trailer was really, really good. It will be day one, and it will be Panic Button, the Switch version of the game. It looks like the first Doom, well, the first new Doom, except it is grappling hooks. But it does seem like more of the same, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Doom was by all accounts, or at least by my account, a darn great video game.
Yeah, some fine vidya, some great melee kills, which it sounds like they're keeping for this new one. And hey, you get to go beat up more demons. Always fun.
Yeah, yeah. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate and More Fight got demos that came out today. I did play the Monster Hunter Generations one in Japan when it came out, like near the launch of the system. And it totally feels like the Monster Hunter games on 3DS, but looks better, and now it's on one screen, and now it controls better, which is no problem with that at all. That comes out in a couple weeks. And then
Yeah.
More Fight. The space exploration title. I'm just reading your story, Donald. What is More Fight again?
It's sort of I think it's a side-scrolling space game. Probably best to click through and read the review on that because I think Zach gave it a 7.5, but it's just weird because like the game came out in November of last year and it's just now getting a demo. Although, admittedly, part of that was me reading the press release this morning and thinking, "Wait, Morphe's Law got a demo? We haven't heard of that game in a year."
Yeah. Did we talk about on the show last week the Valkyria Chronicles 4 demo?
Yeah, we did mention that. That's the other demo that I'm going to play probably this weekend while I'm on an 11-hour train ride. But the thing with the Valkyria Chronicles demo is I kind of want to save that for closer to launch because I know I'm going to get the game, and I want to remember it because it's going to carry your progress through to the final game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do I really want to invest this now and then forget everything in a month and a half? Or whenever I finally get around to it, just because that comes out like 2 weeks before Final Remix for World Ends With You.
Right. Atlas announces Western release for Etrian Odyssey X, which is now Etrian Odyssey Nexus. We have our not our first 2019 game, but we do have a 2019 3DS game, another one, Etrian Odyssey Nexus, February 5th. And then if Persona Q2, which got announced recently, if that comes to the West, and why wouldn't it? Because I'm guessing the Persona games have a bigger audience in the West now. That's probably going to be also next spring, maybe next summer.
I mean, they did pretty well with a May release for Strange Journey Redux this year, so I could see May maybe being the drop point for PQ2. I think the thing is they wanted to wait until it was out in Japan before they announced the localization. So like they did with Nexus, so it comes out in Japan at the end of November. So I'd say we probably get an announcement of that before the year's out, if it's going to be a quick turnaround like they're doing with EO.
I see. All right. So there's your Etrian Odyssey. And I do believe that covers the news. Let's see if there's anything else in the chat to talk about, because I know the show is running a little bit short. Dale concurs. Doom Eternal looks fantastic. Chair Goblin hates the constant loading screens in Monster Hunter. Chair Goblin asks, how will Etrian Odyssey transfer to one screen? That's a good question.
Well, they seemingly teased a future Etrian project after X or Nexus came out in Japan, and they seem to imply that it was going to go mobile, which at that point, well, you could just divide the screen in half.
Yeah. And I guess if they made a mobile one, they could put that on Switch level 5 style, although that doesn't really seem to be Atlus's style. Elemental Iguana says, hopefully we'll get a Nintendo Direct next week because of Gamescom. I don't anticipate a Nintendo Direct next week. I think because Smash got its own Direct, I don't anticipate Nintendo getting a separate Direct unless it's a mini.
Yeah, I think one of those out of nowhere minis could be a thing. If it is, I kind of hope it's not on Thursday just because I'll be traveling. But because I honestly figured like Diablo was big enough to possibly be the closer, sort of like Dark Souls was in January. So I thought we might have honestly seen something today.
I think we might get some sort of Nintendo Direct, whether it's a mini or not, in September.
Yeah. I think September's a fine month for it. I just think it's a little too soon.
Well, I don't, because I think they'll lay out their full fall lineup. I think they've done this sort of thing in September's before, if I'm not mistaken.
They certainly did last year.
Yeah. So what I think they're going to do is they're going to do something in September. They're going to have like a whole segment on the Xenoblade 2 DLC / standalone Torn of the Golden Land or Country, whatever they're calling it. And then they're going to reveal Rex in Smash Brothers and tie it all together.
And there was that rumor that got some whole bunch of gasoline thrown on that fire today about a port of New Super Mario Brothers, presumably with Luigi U and some other content, funky mode.
Yeah, probably a funky mode style thing. Maybe some new challenges, because I know U has those challenge things in it that no one really played.
I beat all those challenges except for the co-op ones where like you needed people to help. That was really difficult, by the way. I did some of them. Then my sister didn't want to do them anymore because we did one that was really hard. But yeah, those are good. Of course, that one I never finished isn't going to transfer to this mode.
Yeah.
Because, you needed the gamepad for somebody to create blocks and stuff for you. But yeah, it'd be cool to have that on Switch, I guess, especially for people who missed out, which is probably most Switch owners. And that's continuing with my estimation that almost every Wii U game that can be ported to Switch that Nintendo made will be ported to Switch just to earn back some of their money. And I said almost. There'll be exceptions.
And patrons will have something to look forward to tomorrow. That'll be probably going to the full site on Monday. Concerning Wii U ports to Switch, in all honesty.
Yeah, so check out our Patreon.
Jared Goblin says, we need more 3DS announcements. I think 2019 is the last year. I think.
3 years in a row, people have probably been saying that. But
yeah, it's 2019 feels like the actual last year, though.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Atlas doesn't have anything aside from PQ2. Atlas does not have anything in the pipeline for Japan for 3DS. Although, really, they don't have much in the pipeline at all right now, as far as I can tell.
Well, I mean, the Persona team's working on their not Persona game.
Their Fantasy ReZero thing. That's going to be 2020 at the earliest.
And then the Shin Megami Tensei 5 is in development.
FMT5, yeah. Who knows when that's coming out? I think that's like one of the last games that doesn't have a release date. Although that we might get an update on next month.
Plus,
what if?
Yeah, go ahead.
What if on 3DS, and this is kind of like a crazy scenario, the new Pokemon games came out on both Switch and 3DS, like a downported version, like with more retro graphics or something?
Doubt it.
They've already said that they've left the 3DS behind, and if Game
Okay.
Freak is leaving the 3DS behind, it's on its last legs.
They called Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon the ultimate 3DS games, but they mean it in the final way, not necessarily. And well, probably they're doing the PR speak for greatest too, but
Yeah, Cherry Goblin in chat saying, "Where's Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, the remake?" And that would be something perfect for a September Direct.
that would be perfect for a direct coming out later next month
Or an August PR dump.
or an August PR dump.
Maybe.
Here's something. So one of the mini games, the micro games in WarioWare Gold, it's Super Mario Sunshine, and it's in 2D. Well, I mean, the whole game's in 2D, but it's Super Mario Sunshine, and you're using Flood, and you're spraying something off. And just for a quick micro game. And I'm like, lots of people have definitely thought about a Super Mario Sunshine 3D. And this is like, I mean, WarioWare always does the thing where it's like, here's an in-engine, here's a video game version of a real-life Nintendo toy implemented into a micro game. But it's very weird that they have in-engine Super Mario Sunshine unless they literally ported part of a few of the mechanics for a goof. But part of me's thinking like, hey, hold on a second. What if Super Mario Sunshine is going to be a next year game on 3DS?
I doubt it.
I still can't help but think that that there's still the possibility for something with that Link Between Worlds engine.
Yeah.
Because there's been that long running, I don't know if it's a rumor or my own fever dream, of a Link's Awakening remake on 3DS, which I would be way down for if they decided to go down that road. But again, that's probably something that probably got moved to Switch at some point, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Okay, can't you just download a Link to the Past on the Virtual Console?
On 3DS, yeah. But I mean like a full-on modern take on Link's Awakening. Link Between Worlds style. But yeah.
Something I wanted to bring up that's probably absolutely nothing is I was watching that Diablo 3 trailer, and at one point they zoom out from a Switch, and the Joy-Con look like they may be off-white, but I'm not sure if it's that or the brightness is really high on them. So, is this a new Joy-Con color? Probably not, but it seems a little weird. That's all I'm saying.
But we don't know it's not a new Joy-Con color.
We don't know it's not.
Yeah.
It's probably me just looking at this too much, but as soon as they showed that part, it wasn't even like a split second. I'm like, that's not a color of a Joy-Con we currently have.
Unless it was just the default black ones with the trigger lighting, because they were really doing some funky things with the lighting
and
in that video. So
I'll copy a link to my tweet and share it with you guys here, so you could take a quick look if you want, where I tried to get a quick screen cap on that.
Those are some good-looking Joy-Cons.
But they're not gray, like, right?
That's lighter.
Yeah, it's weird.
Jay Harris.
yeah, I'm in the Team Bright Lights camp on this one.
Yeah, it's probably that, but I just had to point it out. It was weird.
But even if that is the case, Donald, that's like a good-looking Joy-Con. a nice light gray.
Very light, yeah.
Now, if only they could do something, put something in to sort of square off those buttons on the left, and maybe make it a proper D-pad.
Yeah.
Because Hori, admittedly, they tried, but they didn't do too well apparently.
Yeah,
and it only works in handheld mode.
Yeah, if they were gonna do that D-pad Joy-Con, I don't want it to be the way Hori did it. I want it to have all the features and the D-pad. And I can think of one time since I've had my Switch that I've actually busted those Joy-Con out and shared it with somebody, because I normally have like a Pro controller with me as well. So yeah, just please give me a real full D-pad that I can use on the TV as well, please.
Dale says he is Team Photoshop render. He thinks it's just a Photoshop render. I think that's all the news we have to talk about this week. The Smash Direct had a lot of big news. Oh, my thoughts. None of the characters were necessarily characters I wanted, but I still think they did a great job of showing off the game. Or rather, I have no problem with any of the characters. It's just I was never really a Castlevania guy. I like Ridley, but I'm not necessarily a Dark Samus guy. Crom, I think, is a smart, easy sort of get. That's a Roy Echo, right?
Crom officially is a Roy Echo, though he has elements of the other male Fire Emblem Lords.
Gotcha.
I know his recovery is like the biggest tell, and it's Ike's recovery.
King K. Rool, not my era. Hashtag not my Donkey Kong country, although I have no problem with him. I think he's a great addition to the game. I think they're really listening to fan feedback, and I think they're really leaning into the whole, okay, we're going to use the same engine. We're going to use it as a base. Okay. But since we're going to do that, we are going to put in a measurable amount of content into the game. Now, what I think is going to be a consequence of that is that there's going to be a lot of stages, a lot of music, a lot of characters, a lot of everything. I have my concerns about the single-player content. Whatever this Spirits mode is, I think that'll probably be a single-player mode, and I'm guessing the Luigi's Mansion thing was probably a taste of it. I do think there's something to that, like maybe something between adventure mode from Melee and the Subspace Emissary from Brawl, like maybe a 3-hour something. And then it'll probably be some of the sub modes that we saw in the last Smash Bros. Game, only new challenges, new events, and whatnot. I think it was a great direct. I think it probably made a lot of people really, really happy. And I look forward to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 representation soon.
I hope we get that.
I sure hope we get that.
I don't know if you saw my list, but 3 characters from my list made it in that direct, my list of top 20. And Rex is still on my list, so let's hope this streak keeps going.
You know, there's a couple little holes next to Shulk in that Smash Bros. Portrait. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder if Rex and Pyra would fit there.
Well, Rex and Pyra is one character, and I guess Elena would be the other one from X?
Maybe.
I don't think anybody from X has enough character to be in this game. That's my take.
Hot take from Justin.
Hot take.
They could do the really they could do the really massive spoiler. Although really I just want some of those 800 tracks to be Xenoblade X tracks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm okay with the music. So we can all like be like, oh yeah, remember that yeah stuff during a match.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. Or Black Tar on like endless mode or something.
Give me I don't even want those. Like I'm thinking of stuff like Uncontrollable or the like Chapter 7 and 8 boss theme. Those would be good Smash songs.
Man, when I just think of that game, I just think of yeah and Black Tar.
When you say yeah, I think of Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
All right. I did have a problem with Cloud. Cherry Goblin points something out. I was very unhappy about Cloud back in the day because I think not only was I not a Final Fantasy VII guy, but I also don't know what place Cloud had or has in a Nintendo game. But you know what? Live and let live.
He's been on Nintendo platforms, Alex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Theater Rhythm.
Yeah, and Kingdom Hearts. Chain of Memories, yeah. Now, if we get Squall as an Echo Fighter, then we're going to have some problems. But, I don't know, they could probably Echo in somebody like Locke or Terra if they want to go down that road. Because, I mean, the FF6 characters especially, they do have desperation moves that they can use in that game, so probably could adapt the limit mechanic to that.
Yeah.
And at least then you have somebody who's actually, started on a Nintendo platform.
Yeah. Doug Roth, if they were really listening to fan feedback, they'd make Waluigi a playable character. I think Waluigi isn't in the game because Sakurai's listening to fan feedback.
Because Waluigi is somebody's self-insert fanfic character. That's why he's not playable. You're lucky he's an assist trophy.
Yeah, it's
If
you want, you can always bid on Waluigi's Taco Stand, the physical copy of a ROM hack that went up on eBay. There's a Resetera thread on it that someone made a Super Mario 64 hack with Waluigi in it, called it Waluigi's Taco Stand. Someone then made a physical copy and then is selling it or sold it on eBay for a surprising amount of money.
Don't buy that. People, don't buy that.
It's an interesting little... Yeah, Donald. Yep. All right. I think that'll do it for our show. We're hitting the usual 41-minute mark. Thank you very much.
We're talking about Waluigi, so time to...
Yeah, when we're talking about Waluigi, it's time to go to bed. All right, I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Nintendo News Report on iTunes. At Donald Mick, excuse me. At Justin...
Yes,
no.
at Donald Mick, the world's finest 404 page.
Yes. At Donald Mick. Wait, do you not have your Twitter anymore?
Let's say it's on hiatus with the possibility of that hiatus becoming permanent.
Did you lock your own account?
We'll talk about it after the show.
All right, cool. Okay, at 404, or okay, at Nintendo World Report if you want to follow Nintendo World Report.
At Nintendo_NWR. That's
at Nintendo_NWR. Okay, been a long day. All right, and then we got at King Nintendo Fan, and then we got at Kulafia, CULAFIA, NintendoWorldReport.com. Go to patreon.com/NWR. That's our show. Have a wonderful night. Bye.
All right.
Later. Pig Ganon for Smash.
Pig Ganon for Smash.